Video on post-processing some data right on the device of an AiM MyChron 5 2T configured in road racing mode. So we'll go ahead and power on the device here. This particular device was installed on a snowcross snowmobile and with two EGTs or exhaust gas probes plugged into the port there. However, they're not plugged in right now, so we're not seeing any live temperatures. Currently, we're indoors. That's the GPS speed, and you can see the bar graph for RPM configured at the top here. So the way to check if the device is configured in road race mode is if you click Menu and you scroll over to System Settings here. We'll click Enter. Scroll over to General Settings at the bottom here. And then the type of racing that's being configured here is road racing. So when we go to post-process the data on the device and look at one of the data logs, it will look slightly different than what you would have if you were configured to be in oval circuit format. This particular data log was recorded on a snowmobile that was in a rally type scenario, which was an open circuit type of race. So there's only a single lap, let's say, for each session. You can go ahead and change the device here. It'll go through a firmware update and change those settings to be configured for oval track. But we'll look at the data here for road racing since that's how it was configured when the data logs were recorded. So we'll click exit and exit again, and we'll go back to the home screen. So if we click memory here, we can just use an example test session that was recorded previously. So we can see the date being shown here and then the times for each of the test sessions that, as I mentioned, were open circuits, so they're only showing one lap per session. I'll scroll here to this particular session here, and we can see the date and time here, and then we can see the max RPM that was achieved, the max speed that was achieved in this particular session, and then both EGTs, so the max temperature on EGT1 and EGT2 for this particular session. There's only one lap in this session, and it was 6 minutes and 50 seconds long. Once again, you can see the max min RPMs and speeds, and then the max min EGTs as well for each of the cylinders of the snowmobile itself. Now, if we click page here, this is going to bring you to a screen that shows the data in graphical format. So you can see the RPM versus time here. This is the cursor position here is at a position of 11.7 seconds, and this is showing the live data here. If you're configured in oval track mode or oval racing mode, it's going to look slightly different. It's going to have a picture of the race course, most likely in the shape of an oval or a semicircle and or a tri-oval. And you can scroll through the data for each lap like that, similarly showing the numerical values for the RPM, the speed, and then two of the fields that are being recorded on the MyChron 5 2T. So if we just scroll through the data here through time, you can see the RPM, the vehicle speed, and then both EGTs changing. And you can see the live time up there. So we'll keep scrolling forward to a period in time where the snowmobile was at wide open throttle. So let's say somewhere around, keep scrolling, let's say somewhere around here. So here we were at 50 seconds, or 50.8 seconds. We were at 8,576 RPM, and then going 66.5 miles per hour. And then you can see the two EGTs here of 1112 and then 1085 degrees Fahrenheit for each of the cylinders. And this is very useful for setting clutch settings, obviously, to achieve your targeted RPM here for a given speed, and as well as jetting settings or fuel mixture settings here to balance the EGTs and achieve whatever your desired EGT reading would be on a snowmobile application. On a circle track application such as a go-kart, a circle track midget car, or a hydroplane type boat, obviously you can go to the point in the lap where your maximum RPM and maximum speed is occurring, and you can change your gear ratios, your propeller pitch numerically, so that you can obviously achieve your desired RPM and speed, and then you can visualize obviously the temperatures throughout the lap there to to ensure that nothing is going out of range there. So if we click page again, it'll bring us back to the summary screen that's showing the peaks and or the max and mins for all the different recorded data channels here. And if we go back to tests, we can just pick another test here, just as an example. Let's go to this one here. We can see that there was 2 minutes and 2 seconds here on this one, and we only achieved 29 miles an hour at around 8,900 RPM was the max. And you can see the similar data to before. When we click page, it's going to show graphically the same type of thing. And you can scroll again to a point of the data log where you want to review the data directly on the device here without using Ray Studio whatsoever. Obviously, you can post-process the data in more detail using Ray Studio software and overlay different laps. But as a quick in-the-field type check and a rough order of magnitude estimation on if the tune-up is correct, you can use without a laptop, you can look directly on the device itself when it's configured in road racing mode. A similar type of screen will exist that allows you to look at, for oval racing, a similar type of data in different locations of the track. So we'll go back to the home screen here. And just in conclusion, that was a brief overview of post-processing the data directly on the device when MyChron 5 2T is configured in road racing mode.